Because I've had line
Good
life
people born that day.
after the cataracts, no glasses. My wife was a big shot.
Yeah, my 50th. I can't believe it already.
Glasses.
I'm almost right there.
Oh, I love the river because she's a year and a half older than I am.
One bad eye, you don't get that kind of depth.
So do you know how many minutes older you are than me? Hundreds of thousands.
She's got social security.
Yeah.
But so far, what is the
Saw
sign?
your hubby when I got my flu
It's like
shot.
looking through
There's
fog.
always a bunch of people.
And the headlights coming at you and you're just
The extra strength flu
clear like
shot.
this, you know. They did
Now that you're
starburst.
50, you get the extra strength on.
It's cloud. Mine got
That extra strength one got me sick too.
Oh, did it? My
my
mom
mouth,
too.
she said,
She did not
this one
feel
first,
that
then
after
this one,
that.
because she can see it coming at her. A year ago.
I've never had a reaction.
Yeah, it's cool.
That
It's
one I
10
did.
minutes. They do it on
Chills
the
and
thing.
fever and,
Oh, yeah.
well, I mean, it had to be that because it's only been the next day, so.
But they do.
And my friends did
They
too.
do cataract transplants on dirt floors.
A lot of people die.
I mean, it's easy peasy stuff.
More than
He does,
COVID.
they're stacking with
Nobody
corn.
talks.
Don't even start that argument.
Should we start the meeting?
There's
Start the meeting.
guys here don't
Days are ready.
You look like a Democrat to me.
I don't really.
$6,000 for hospital.
You don't know who you are?
Plus, the
I kind
ophthalmologist cost.
of don't. I don't go straight down
Yeah.
at all.
In between,
Squeeze
like
out.
me.
I just,
And I
I'll
got
put it
just
on
a
his
basic
desk.
generic
Yeah.
guidance, you know.
There's some things I do, and some things I don't.
He's good, he's very good.
Yeah. It's a hard time nowadays being one or the other because you get yelled at no matter who you are.
I know, I don't like it at
So if
all.
you say I'm neither, then nobody else will.
There you go.
I am independent.
Or separate condos.
To get yelled at for that, but
That's fair.
Because that was,
That's what I thought you would. You were. I anticipated it to be two separate.
yeah, and we want to clear it up because how could they not regulate?
Because
Neuro transmitters have one connected.
But if it's the
and then they
same,
got 13 lots.
this might be a longer meeting.
the same homeowners would be,
What?
they
This
would
might be a
have
longer
control.
meeting, huh?
They'd have a say.
Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Denny. How are you, Denny?
I'm good.
Your hair's growing back.
It is, I noticed it, and I'm trying to pull it up and make it so.
Denny did the same thing I did. I tried cutting my own hair, and I put like the real short thing on there, you know? And I went, "Zoop," and I-
And then it's too late, then
The
you got
double O clipper? Yeah.
the wall.
I think that's what they shear sheep with.
you gotta put the longer ones on.
You know that family, that Wall family?
You get lucky.
He was a Monsignor
I know, I saw
in the
that.
Catholic Church in Rockford, Illinois, where I grew up.
Really?
Yeah, I knew the guy, yeah.
No kidding.
He was, I mean, he was a priest, but I mean, his family were
Huh?
millionaires, you know?
Yeah.
Wall.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this. Wow. Nice. Hey, thanks, Jason. Oh, it's you?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benefits of
I'm not nearly that
kids,
sweet.
right?
Yeah, don't pass it
Yeah.
on person.
Great. Chew on those later.
His aid station.
right, let's call the meeting to order. Lots to go through tonight of the October 27th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting. Roll call. Stephen.
Steve Hickman, Lake Enchantment.
Dennis Ferraro, Eagles Nest Road.
Bethany Cody, Lake Enchantment.
Jim Johnson, White Oak Drive.
Linda Winslow, Norwood Street.
Jason McCarthy, Planning and Zoning Administrator.
Approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes from previous meeting, September 22nd and October 13th. Any comments, Jason?
No, he received the 13th today, a little tardy, but again, a lot of detail in your questions regarding the mineral extraction permit application, so I want to make sure that those were all included.
Move to
Any
approve.
comments, questions?
Move to approve.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? All right, let's head on to public comment. If anyone would like to speak now before we have any of the other public hearings or site plan reviews, you're welcome to do so now, or you could wait for the agenda item to come up. Okay, I guess not. Let's move on, 6A. All right, let's call this a public hearing, 7:02, open the public hearing at 7:02 for number 102721-1, proposed short-term rental unit on a property located within the rural residential zoning district. Parcel tax ID number 52-08-004-044-00. Subject property is located in section 4, township 48 north, range 25 west. The applicant is Connor Wilkinson, 354 County Road 550 in Marquette. Anyone wishing to speak right now? Jason? Any?
Background, so Connor Wilkinson is here. He purchased a home on County Road 550, which is located, was just north of Philville a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a slight discrepancy on both Connor's application and the equalization layer. It says that it's scenic residential, but it actually is rural residential, as evidenced by the Marquette Township zoning map. So there's a legal description above there. So as you know, we do allow short-term rentals or vacation rentals in Marquette Township, provided that you have a duly called public hearing and your peers or those within 300 feet are able to come and provide comment on that in case they have any concerns or questions. We haven't received a single response from anybody, pro or against, for your proposed short-term rentals. So a couple of notes from Connor's application is that he's rehabbed the inside of the house, he's added some value to it, and one of the interesting things I thought that Connor included was that he only intends to have a max of 4 people in the home, which would equal 2 parking spaces, so you've got that adequately. And then we do require that you acquire a township business license, as it is a quasi-commercial use, and that you get a fire inspection from our fire department upon and before you start renting, and then every 2 years subsequently. Okay, so neighbors within 300 feet were notified. This is the buffer map that shows the properties that were within that proximity. And those, I think, unless you guys have any questions about that, it is a lot of record. It's, you know, a non-conforming lot in that it's a little bit smaller than your rural residential lot requirement. But the house was built in 1950, it appears, and then rehabbed subsequently over time. So I didn't see any issues with it. And then, of course, the public hearing was designed to bring any issues that I don't see up by the neighbors, but I don't, again, we didn't receive any comments for or against the proposal.
Is that your residence now, Connor?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I'm a longtime resident of Marquette, but I live actually further down 550, and I'm really interested in getting into like real estate and travel industry, and so I was looking throughout the summer, even before that, and this property came up, and it's fairly close to actually where I live now, and it was actually advertised like as an Airbnb property, which we found out later that they were just doing that to stage the property.
Real
And so when I
estate.
saw it, I was like, that's perfect for me, sort of what I was looking for, and my brother's been living there since I purchased it, kind of just helping me do some repairs inside and stuff, but no, it's not my permanent residence.
And I made you aware of the tax implications, excuse me, of renting the property more than 14 days a year.
Yep.
You will lose your primary residence exemption. However, he is cognizant of that and aware of it.
It doesn't sound like he has it anyway.
Say again?
It's not his primary residence anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
If it were to be, though.
Yeah.
Can I ask a few questions? First, I'd like to ask Jason a few questions. First of all, how big a parcel is it? You said it's not rural residential size. How big is it, you know?
Yeah, it's roughly 20,000 square feet.
Half acre, a little less than half acre?
Yeah.
So is there any regulations or any restrictions on him getting a special use permit on a non-conforming lot?
I don't believe so. In my opinion, he's not increasing the use of the property. It's not going from residential to multifamily or anything like that.
But, so with a special use permit, you don't think he has an issue with that? You don't know or you don't think?
I don't believe he does, in my opinion.
You don't believe he does. So, may I ask Mr. Wilkinson, does that have the original septic system in there?
Yes, I believe so.
It has never been replaced?
I'd have to go back and.
Does the health department have any issues with the fact that it's a non-conforming lot that has a septic system, and that's that small? That has replacement, when you have 4 people into a home, you're using much more capacity than a single person there, or you know, a smaller family. So I was just kind of curious if the health department has ever even considered on something like this when it's a non-conforming lot.
I didn't query the health department on this one, and I don't typically. I guess
But you understand my line of questioning?
right.
Because, you know, to have a 1 acre residential lot, that's the minimum size required for the health department to put in septic systems.
But it has a septic system.
But if he was to put in a replacement septic system, would they let him do that?
I believe they would, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if there's one that's existing,
But
if it was a brand new
if
parcel.
it fails, then he's gonna have to find room for another septic system and meet all the requirements for it, distance from wells.
Right.
You know, on a small parcel like that with neighbors around it, you know, you have to get certain distance from wells to put a septic system in, so I'm just kinda curious if that's ever a consideration. Especially on a
Well-
non-conforming lot. If it was a 1 acre lot, then we'd have no issue with that.
Understood. Yeah, so Mr. Hickenden brings up a good point, okay? So if something happens to the septic, you're gonna be required to replace it, and you'll be required to then comply with whatever the county health department.
Current law, right,
Yep.
right.
And if that triggers anything against the Airbnb, then that's something we'll have to wrestle with later on, okay? For sure.
As long as he understands, you know, there may be some issue down the road.
Right, and it's probably maybe something that you didn't think of initially, or maybe you did, but that's a good point.
Okay.
Well taken, and
Who lived in this area, who lived in this house before?
it's been a single-family residence for 71 years.
Yeah,
Okay, then how many people were in the family? More than 3?
I don't know the history
Oh,
of that.
well, I mean, then it really, does it really matter?
Well, we're talking about a 50-year-old septic system as well.
Okay. I get your
There's
point.
that, there's that consideration.
I kind of highly doubt that the septic system is 50 years old, but, or 70 years old for that matter. But I mean, so the planning commission can approve, deny, or approve the
No,
commission.
I
So if you have
understand,
any
as long
conditions
as he
you want-
understands, you know, what he might be up against in the future.
I'll include that in our, if the planning commission approves it, I'll include a little caveat on it.
Great.
Any other questions or comments by the commissioners? Anyone else wishing to speak at this time before we close the public hearing? All right, we'll close the public hearing at 7:11 PM. Commissioners,
I make a motion to approve the special use permit for the parcel listed at 354 County Road 550, Marquette, Michigan.
Second.
is that the address of the property or his address of the
That's
home?
the property address.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so I'll make sure we get that right. All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
We get a roll call?
Oh, roll call, yep,
Yes.
okay. Roll call, Steve Hakinen,
Yes.
Kenny Ferraro,
Yes.
Bethany Cody,
Yes.
Jim Johnson's a yes, Linda Winslow,
Yes.
okay,
Congratulations.
Good luck.
all right.
I'll be in touch.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, let's go to 6B, Site Plan Review, 122721-2. Proposed construction of an 8,704 square foot True North Credit Union to be located within the General Business District at 2680, 2702, and 2712 US 41 West in Marquette, Michigan. Applicant is the True North Federal Credit Union, 1419 North 2nd Street in Ishpeming. Jason.
Well, I'd first like to welcome the True North team. They are represented well here tonight. And this has been an ongoing project. It's been fun, and we're at the point now where we have a site plan in place. So, project location is adjacent to the Christ Oil, just down the road here. And it comprises, on the west end, the former Queen City Burger location, and all the way over to the east, to the what's the restaurant here? Jasmine. And it involves the entire property that you see there. So this is a rather significant or large-scale infill development, one of the largest that we've had, actually. And it's an exciting project. So we received a site plan, and I think the actual building square footage was pared down to 6130 as far as square footage goes. The property is zoned in the general business district, and a banking institution, which is listed in the allowable uses, is permitted by right in this zoning district. That is a quick rendering. We'll get back to that in a little bit. So here you have your survey, legal description, and then the red zoning there indicates the general business zoning district on sheet C100. sheet C101 that shows the existing site plan with the buildings in shade. And that's important because the next slide shows the demolition plan, which includes all of the buildings on the lot, which is a significant project. We did have some conversations with the Brownfield, the Marquette County Brownfield, and Andrew, but unfortunately the numbers didn't really work out. Thankfully, that wasn't a deal breaker on them moving forward on the construction of this site. And then this is the amended site plan C103. So I'm going to go through my staff report a little bit and just give you the highlights of why this was amended. So the building essentially moved to the east by a little bit, but I'll let their architect talk about that. So consistency with the master plan. The land use is consistent with the master plan and the future land use plan for this particular area. Project compatibility. The proposed land use banking institution is permitted by right in the general business zoning district, and the project appears to be compatible with the adjacent land uses in the vicinity. Site organization, they did a good job. Currently, the site is almost 100% impervious surface, so they're actually adding back some green space to the property, which is fairly non-existent at this point. Organization of the site appears to be advantageous and harmonious with the adjacent surroundings. However, there is a little note here, and that is, let's see if I can get that slide. It slides in your packet, but it's not in here. And basically during the due diligence process, much to the surprise of a lot of people, it was discovered that there was a 22-foot wide alley right-of-way running from the highway north through the property. The current property owner has submitted required documentation to the Marquette Township Board and the County Road Commission requesting the abandonment of this portion of right-of-way. Essentially, this portion of right-of-way has been used in a commercial and a private sense for a long time, so even if the county didn't want to do anything about it, the current owner could probably push adverse possession and maybe they would be victorious there. However, we don't feel that that's needed. We think this is going through the proper channel, which is the proper abandonment through the court system. Very similar in the way that we did when we enclosed Lions Field and closed that portion of Erie between Cherry and Summit Street. So we went through a process there to do that. I wanted to add that note because one of the contingencies on the approval is the completion of that formal process, okay? So basically you have a interested party who is under contract with the current owner. One of the caveats in the purchase agreement is a successful site plan. Location of buildings, of course, it meets our minimum requirements for setbacks. In fact, it's set back quite nicely. Parks, drives, parking and circulation. Certainly the parking meets our minimum requirements. And if you noticed on the site plan, there was a couple of maybe community spaces in case they have some events there. And let's see, circulation, the Township Fire Department has reviewed the proposed circulation plan for compliance with their emergency vehicles and access requirements appear to be adequate. So initially the fire department reviewed this and they were only able to get around the right side of the building coming in, but now they'd be able to navigate the entire site thanks to the architects and the team's small adjustment to that. Digging further into the details, grading, drainage, and stormwater. Those things are, you know, as the site develops, those kind of things get hammered out later on, but basically they're planning on some infiltration and discharge from into the MDOT right-of-way sewer system. So that'll be something that you'll have to work out with MDOT, but I believe you've already had some preliminary discussions with that to include the driveway approach, and a traffic study is also proposed for that. But anyway, the stormwater is proposed to basically discharge into the MDOT right away as a result of this massive project that's going on out here, which is finally looking like it might wrap up. There was some additional capacity placed in the middle of the right of way, so that's helpful. Utility services, currently there's some, as you can imagine, there's lots of utilities in the area, and some of those are gonna have to be capped off, some of them are gonna be extended, but they're proposing 6-inch water and 6-inch sanitary. That's kind of getting into the minutia, but you know, your guys' basic review is height, bulk, and those kind of items. All of this will have to be approved by the DPW department in Lenny and reviewed and approved at the county level, all kinds of other red tape to go through. The building is going to be sprinkled as far as fire protection, so that's certainly helpful when it comes to pre-fire planning and health safety. But they'll have to deliver those plans to the fire department as the project continues to mature. A couple additional notes from the fire chief. This is a little bit antiquated because as a result of our review and then reviewing our review, there's already been some back and forth with the fire department. I do want to keep that as an area of contingency if the planning commission chooses to approve this tonight, and that item would be under 3F.
What was that again, the contingent inspection by the fire department?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, the fire sprinkle plans, the architectural
Okay.
plans, all of those things will have to be submitted and approved by our fire department. No known environmental issues at the time, good luck. We hope that you have a clean demo and site balancing endeavor. Landscaping, buffer yard, and open space requirements are met with the proposed landscaping plan. Of course, it's gonna be, I'm sure, a world-class site, and there's really not a lot of landscaping required because you have commercial uses on each side. The buffer yard requirement's very minimal, if anything. So the fact that they've included some is a step in the right direction. Signage will be approved separately. Lighting, of course, we have a dark sky friendly lighting ordinance in Marquette Township now for commercial development. So with that, we'll review your lighting prior to installation or ordering out of a catalog. I would suggest we look at those prior to that. And then 4, other factors. A, the applicant shall acquire, of course, all required Marquette County Building Department permits. And B, a financial guarantee shall be submitted in the amount of 1% of the proposed construction costs to account for the completion of landscaping, buffer yard construction, and as-built plans, which we bring into our computer system. Then we know, all of those utilities have been capped, and the new utilities are here, they're buried this deep, they're this size, and we can put that into our CAD and GIS system in case something happens in the future. We can take care of it real quick. So that amount is $20,000 based on the estimated value of the project at $2 million. With all that said, and if obviously if the members here have any comments, staff recommends approval of the proposed site plan contingent upon the submission and approval of items 3A, D, E, F, I, J, and number 4. And of course, their team is here if you have any detailed questions about their site plan or any of the finer details that I touched on.
Yeah, I'll start it off. So I notice on the existing site, you have, it looks like a high elevation right around 903, right about in the middle of the parcel. And then you must slope away from all of that. And I noticed the floor elevation on your building is 899, so you're gonna significantly cut that site down, are you?
Yeah, one of the key things to the site, and talking with the fire department, is the truck currently cannot get up that entrance because it's so
Because the
steep.
grade, yeah.
So basically, we're gonna be shaving about 2 to 3 feet off the entire site. We did borings that indicate there's no bedrock. Hopefully, we don't have any bedrock either.
Yeah.
But yeah, the intent right now is to shave the site off.
And you're gonna bring that all the way out to your axis on 41, reshaping that all?
Yeah, basically, the entire site's gonna look completely different.
So your drainage is gonna go in both directions off of that then?
Yep.
So on the north side of it, there's a big retention basin in there, I believe, that the drain commissioner had put in there. I forget what,
Yeah, it's
Badger
the-
Creek, maybe, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's part of the Badger Creek watershed, it's the Warner Street Detention Basin.
Yeah,
That basin at the time was designed to handle commercial development for the entire area.
okay,
So currently, a lot of that water currently flows there, but we're also gonna be reducing that because we're adding green space buffer.
can you put up the slide that actually shows where the building's going versus? There you go, yeah. So the retention basin is to the northwest, basically there. I mean, you're right on the edge of that retention basin, huh?
Yep,
So, because my eyes and, these size sheets, so are those grades that we're looking at, those slopes, are those dropping down into that basin, or are they going up? Are you cutting down into that parcel, or are you going up?
no, this is, going down, if you look, you can kinda see the contours are kinda triangular, so.
Yeah, I see that.
If you can envision that, the site's basically falling like this.
Both ways?
Yeah,
Towards the
and-
highway and the retention basin?
Yeah, basically that's what this line indicates,
Yeah,
is everything this way is gonna go to the basin.
Okay.
Everything this way is going to MDOT. Since we're adding green space,
Yeah.
we're reducing runoff to both areas.
okay. And you anticipate that you're gonna take the drainage off the front of the building and run it into the MDOT drain?
Yeah, because what MDOT will make us do, they actually do a hydrograph analysis, which is like a 50-year design storm modeled over 24 hours,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. And that's part of their permit process that we'll have to submit to them.
Uh-huh.
But with our current proposed site plan, we're actually gonna be reducing the runoff to the highway as well as to the detention basin.
Okay, I mean, at the looks of it, I mean, this is a pretty full site. What about snow storage?
We're currently planning for the back.
You gonna just dump in the drain?
Well, we have that large buffer area prior to going to the detention basin,
Yeah.
but there'd be storage there, and then I guess if we have a really significant winter, we might look at
Hauling it?
it offsite.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. I made some notes. And so the borings that you show on the page right now, are those existing borings?
Yeah,
They don't
those-
reflect dropping down to 3 or 4 feet to the elevation of the building, and then the footings beyond that, so, you should, just subtract 3 or 4 feet off of here, and then you got the actual elevation where the building's gonna go?
Yep, so when we did the barns, we did them just to see if we could excavate without getting into a bunch of rock, but
Yeah.
also to see if we could have a basement.
Yeah.
So,
I see that the water elevation is pretty high, it's about, 16 feet?
yeah, it's basically similar to what that detention basin.
Is it on a perch thing, or why is it up so high? I mean, because, downhill it's pretty dry yet, so,
Well, I would imagine that there is bedrock.
okay. You're just not hitting it when you're boring?
Yeah, we bored to 20 feet.
Okay.
and-
All right. And you got good soil there for footings and foundations, all that stuff?
Yeah, and I mean, the foundation design is still in progress,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, as far as we can tell, it's all clean sand, so it's perfect for building.
We'll say that they are accounting for, and have actually, based on the MDOT comments, even reduced the grade going in even more so that they can accommodate a future pathway in front of, should we extend it to the east, which we're planning on doing at some point, where and when feasible.
And I assume that green space is part of the calculation of reducing velocity as it hits the road, hits 41 there, huh?
Yeah, but the actual significant infiltration will be before that path. I guess it depends on ultimately where it ends up being,
Uh-huh.
but, yeah.
Yeah, you can see they are showing a small deceleration lane because obviously, the land use itself, we're figuring that they're gonna have some significant traffic, so we wanna get that off the road and into their driveways safely as possible.
Does MDOT control that right away, that 22-foot wide right away?
No, that is.
Road commission?
It's a part of the road commission, yeah.
And has anybody broached on that, how do they feel about it?
Yes, they already set a public hearing,
Okay.
yeah.
And there's a road in back that intersects it? That's never been built to?
Correct.
Are they gonna abandon that at the same time and get rid of it all, or?
No, the development doesn't get into that.
Okay.
No.
No, I mean, just the road commission on,
No, we are not in the, in the mindset of abandoning right-of-ways. This one happens to make sense
Okay.
because, I don't believe even Jim Iwaniki knew that it was in existence.
Yeah.
Certainly, we didn't know. So kudos to their due diligence in identifying it, one, and then, thankfully, it's something that we don't feel is disadvantageous to the township or our residents in abandoning that particular segment.
was that part of a, like a plat?
I don't believe so, but
So does, the court wouldn't have any interest in, them abandoning it as well in a court order, or is that required under this?
it does require to go to circuit court, which
Okay.
is why it's a underscored condition of approval
Okay.
based on staff's recommendation.
So in the front, where your entrance is coming in, it looks like it's all around, elevations about 897 all the way across, except for where you're first coming in, it goes up a couple feet. So your driveway isn't gonna be below the, sides there by much, is it? It's all gonna be kind of level coming in there?
Yeah, it's gonna be basically your road crown, blending off for the entrance coming in. So the road will be the high point entering the site.
So you'll be taking quite a bit out of there, that whole mound coming in, where you're
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
in
like I
there,
said,
all the way
basically 2 to
across.
3 feet across the entire site.
Mm-hmm, okay.
And I believe that current grade, it's up, I don't have it in front of me, but up near 10% or more.
Yeah.
And we're bringing it down to 4.5%. And with an actual transition, so that way it won't just be straight. Because that's, the truck right now bottoms out, basically trying to get there.
Does this drawing account for the the pedestrian path that's going in, or is that yet to be added on to this?
That's west of here.
Oh, is it?
Yep,
Okay.
but they are pre-planning that and have accounted for it, so, even though it'll be in the right of way, they're acknowledging that, and if you notice on the, sheet there was, well, I don't know, it was on the previous one, but, 2 walkways on either side going from the pathway into the development once that is constructed, so.
Is that gonna be initially sodded and then doing like a footpath or? the
Yeah,
future pathway?
until that path is there, it'll just be grass and landscaping for now. But
So if I'm looking at this right, the parking in the back there, is that like parallel parking?
I think that's their drive-up lanes.
yeah, so True North, they want to have the ability to hold company events in their basement. And to do that with the occupancy, you end up adding a significant amount of parking spots. So in the event that they have a company meeting in the basement while the rest of the parking lot's filled up, that's essentially what that's for.
And it also shows proposed stacking of drive-through customers.
And that was taken into account. When we adjusted the site plan slightly, we added more pavement to the north. So that way, if all of those cars are actually there and there's a fire truck can still make that corner. So that was one of the adjustments that we made in speaking with Rob Goggin.
So yeah, like these first 2 rows will be for drive-in, is what you're talking about?
I think you got 5 drive-through lanes?
Four
Four.
plus an eight.
Oh, yeah, 4.
One,
Oh, okay.
3, 4. And then these were the ones I was talking about, for basement
Okay.
events, the ones on
How many employees would you be bringing to the community?
To this part, we begin with about 8 and move up from there. So we'd be bringing some from Ishpeming and from our current Walmart branch, because the Walmart branch would close. And so to begin with, it would be roughly about that amount, and then as the business increases, we'd have more.
You get a lot of comments on people that just want to go to your bank but have to go into Walmart to get there?
A lot of them, yes. Yeah.
It'd be nice to have a standalone spot.
Plus, we have thousands of members who live in Marquette and the surrounding area, and we have many thousands who live in the West End, in Ishpeming and Negaunee, and they commute to Marquette for their jobs. So it's going to be a busy branch.
Well, on behalf of staff and, hopefully the planning commission here, we appreciate your efforts, your investment in our community, should that occur. And, you're cleaning up a site that is fairly antiquated, so I think it's only going to add value to the rest of the corridor as keeping up with the Joneses occurs over time.
Well, and True North appreciates the work that all of you are doing, because it's good to work with folks who are helpful, and we really appreciate your help.
Thank you.
It's not a hearing. It's just like a meeting. Any other comments from anyone? Questions? Well, looking for a motion one way or the other, whatever you'd like to do.
Move to approve the site plan review for the True North Federal Credit Union to be located at 2680, 2702, and 2712 US 41 West, Marquette, Michigan. Subject to all of the contingencies previously recited by Mr. McCarthy.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? In favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Need a roll call?
Opposed?
Aye.
What's that, Steve?
No, just to see if we need a roll call on this one. We don't.
No, it's not a public hearing, just site plan review.
5-0.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
forward to
thanks very
working.
much. Looking forward to it. Six C, final planned unit development application. Number 102721-3, Heritage Silos LLC. It's the final planned unit development application review. And the applicant is Heritage Silos LLC, 397 Bishop Woods Road. Jason?
So just to be clear, this does not require a public hearing. This is the final process or final stage in a planned unit development, at least the approval process, and then there's the build-out process. If you remember, on September 22nd, you held a public hearing, and you basically approved the pre-preliminary planned unit development plan for Heritage Silos. In moving forward and in going into the final, which is included into your site plan here, just want to remind everybody that this is one of the first times that I've been going through this, so I'm learning just as much as you are about this process. But for final review, you're required to abide by section 1306B, final PUD Planning Commission review. And there are 4 bullet points there to consider. And then all of it has to be compliant with 1307 standards for approval. What I wanted to do is back up a little bit to the letter that's required to be signed in 1305 before moving forward, and that is provided in your packet. So essentially they took your comments and they made some adjustments to the plan based on the comments that we received. So I'll end my comments with this, but in reference to, or in response to the preliminary planning commission review comments, we have made the following modifications to the final PUD plan. Added residential street lighting, see lighting plan on sheet 1L 1.0. Limited rental cabins to 4 occupants per dwelling, which was a requirement of the planning commission. And they eliminated the higher density triplex and replaced them with 2-bedroom standalone buildings, reducing the total number of short-term rental dwellings by 1. So that is more in line with your direction. It certainly was more in line with the initial direction that I provided as well. Good to see that. So what you have before you tonight then is really a check and balance and review of 1307 A through E. And my staff review recommends approval of the review standards found in 1307 and approval of the proposed final PUD application contingent upon compliance with sections 1308, 1309, 1310, and 1311, which deal with, I believe, site plan review. Let's see. Oh, well, it's part of the plan unit development still, but there's more items, like once the planning commission's done, staff is still required to monitor and stay with it. So I would ask that the developers, if they have any additional comments to make, provide them. Of course, this is the site, it's zoned rural residential. You can see in the revised cover sheet that the southern parcel is now smaller, single-family residences essentially. There's smaller cabins, but there's only one of them. I should say that. They're single, what's the proper terminology?
Simplex?
Yeah, they're just a single, singplex cabin, and essentially nothing else has changed. And there's your lighting metric, or photometric on the proposed driveway lights. Too bad they weren't cut off, but that's okay. Not required on residential development. And then there's your architecture, including parcel A, which shows the elevations of the cabins, and pretty residential looking to me anyway. So with that in mind, I would open it up to the development team if you have anything else to add. I think everybody's fairly familiar with the plan.
I think nothing, Jason, other than, based on last meeting, we kind of took your comments and put them on paper and kind of try to comply a little bit better, if you will. I think it's a clear layout. So we just should answer questions.
One question that came up last time, and Mr. Hyken and myself were a little bit unclear about it, is the cabins under the same homeowners association as the other residential, single-family dwellings?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be one condominium act, but then we have, like when we did the waterfront condominiums downtown, we have a commercial and a residential. And so here we'll have the west side and then the east side, but they're commingled because the maintenance of the road and things like that will be contributed by an HOA for all 15 parcels.
So there'll be one HOA for all of the parcels?
Right. But then with two different,
Right. I guess the concern was, I think somebody raised a concern, so what if things get out of hand in the rentals?
right.
Who's gonna be in charge of enforcing?
One management team for the whole parcel.
Okay, good, thank you.
Well, I think it looks good. I think you kind of addressed everything we talked about before. The lighting, cabins, and I think it's gonna be an attractive addition to the area. Who's going to do the plowing? Were you gonna have a private?
It'll be private.
It's who?
It'll be private, we haven't determined that yet.
Okay,
You know, the record is in-
but it will be private though. Won't be, okay. You have any further questions from anyone? Steve, are you okay with everything on here?
Yep, I think they did a nice job.
Okay. Denny,
Okay with me too.
Bethany,
No questions?
okay, Linda?
I'm excited to see it happen. Yeah, really.
Appreciate your flexibility and your willingness to massage the plan to provide some comfort to the planning commission and to the surrounding neighbors who showed up and clearly demonstrated their concerns. So thank you for
The
working
wheels
with
have
us.
been family friends for years, and, you know, just want to make sure we,
I think they're a reasonable request.
yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for a motion if someone wants to make
Yeah, I'll
one.
make the motion. I'll make the motion that we approve the review standards found in section 1307 and approval of the proposed final PUD application contingent upon the compliance with sections 13.08, 13.09, 13.10, and 13.11 of the Marquette Township zoning ordinance. The parcel being listed, oh, there's so many pages here. There it is, right, the final plan unit development, application number 102721-3, Heritage Silos LLC. I so move.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Another step in the right direction. Just so it's noted, Steve Hankinen was the only dissenting vote at the last meeting, so he must have won his heart.
No, I don't remember that at all.
We remember that. We know it.
That's all right, that's all right.
He must have done a good job.
I gotta watch out for the other guy too.
Yep, no, I appreciate that. Thank you all.
Thank you, we'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Good luck on that project too, it'll be a good one.
Phew, we're so productive tonight, aren't we?
Let's keep it rolling.
Jeez,
Wings
all
are
right.
on tonight.
Pardon me? A little bit.
How about that? Lucas
I surveyed for
Sniper,
17 years.
yeah.
So I used to do site plans and, yeah,
that's it.
that was my bailiwick for 17 years, so
I
yeah.
was wondering.
How do we know that?
Excuse me,
I've run a few.
excuse me. Jason needs to get home to watch the Wings, so let's.
Here we go.
Sorry, Jason, I don't know what they're thinking here, but,
You don't wanna watch the.
well, let's move on to 6D. Special use permit public hearing request. proposed short-term rental unit on a property located at 170 Eagles Nest Road.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so we received an application, and I did include, I think I included some information, probably their application, I hope. And then a map of where it is. Here, I'll show you where it is. This is up in Mr. Ferraro's area.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know Timothy, or I have,
So you notice that
across,
the
yeah.
application is the Houses of Gort LLC.
Yeah.
So they do have a number of them. He did indicate on the phone that, or maybe not a number of them, I think they have other short-term rentals, I don't know how many. But
I thought he lived there.
they do.
Yeah, that's what I
Yep,
thought, yeah.
Yep, but they do intend on renting it out when they're not there, and it will not be a situation where they'll be there and they're renting out a bedroom or something, a portion of it. So they did want to go through the full process to be able to rent it out completely without them being there. And they were made aware of the implications because it is their primary residence, and I think they have other properties or businesses that you know they live in or work out of from time to time. So I did get a good sense that they would manage it very well, and I thought their narrative was pretty well put together too. So. Just looking to schedule the public hearing for December 8th. So we only have one meeting in November now, and we only have one meeting in December. So November 10th and December 8th. This one we pushed out to the 8th just because I didn't want to try to get it in on the November 10th meeting and then not, you know, you guys have to schedule that public hearing, not me. But I did find the application to be complete.
are you close to them, Den?
I'm at 238.
238?
I'm at 238, they're at 170. so-
Okay, is that a ways away, or is
Pardon?
that within 300 feet, or did you get a letter?
I did not get a letter, it's not within 300 feet.
We haven't notified it yet either. This is just to set the
Oh,
public hearing.
yeah, all right, all right.
It'll go
Yeah,
out, you know, 20 days prior to the 8th of December.
Yep.
So,
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
I don't send that out until the
yeah, I
planning
know, my
commission
mistake.
schedules it.
Yep. Do you know them at all?
I've met Timothy once and his family. He's got one or two young kids, met them on the beach, and a little beach there that's in the area.
Is there still a beach there?
You know, it's I call it Black Bear Beach because I saw a black bear going in there. But it's called, we call Clark's Beach. I think it's down, farther down, yeah. And it's right next to where the Superior Watershed Partnership has made that coastal forest. It's a nice, hey, whatever, you know, as we're talking, whatever happened about that violation of the Clean Water Act, the Army Corps of Engineers put a stop construction, because right, you know what I'm talking about, just as you go in, it's not built up or anything, but they were coming in there and they were filling in wetland and so forth.
Yeah, well,
Did you
our
ever hear
hammer is
anything about
way
that?
smaller than theirs, but we have not heard anything as far as their plans to move forward on that.
Because I haven't seen any activity.
No,
there
I
since
think they shut
happened.
it, they pretty shut it down.
Yeah, yeah. Huh, okay.
so I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing for the proposed short-term rental at 170 Eagles Nest Road in Marquette.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Wow, that was quick. Jeez, Linda.
Good job, guys. There's a lot to get through tonight, but
Yeah.
we're not done yet.
Yeah,
You
there's-
had to say it, Jason.
there's
no, I just meant like,
Yeah.
hopefully the information that gets provided to you is
All right.
thorough enough to
Right.
at least get you partway there, and then any detailed questions you have, you just ask the applicants.
Yeah, and it's real nice that you can put that stuff up on the screen too. It's very,
Yeah, can you zoom on that at all?
No,
Not
I gotta
yet.
sit
Well-
closer.
no, I can't. Yeah, there might be another iteration of the AV in here.
There will
Well, that's up to the board, but
We'll just put
Yeah.
it up next time.
once you see how the community room operates now, I think you're gonna want an update in here
I
too.
just want that one right here.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, monitors.
That I can go like this.
Monitors would actually, they'd probably stay below the dais, kind of.
They'd be perfect.
On an angle, yeah, that'd be neat.
Work on it.
I will.
Is that
Thank
considered a CIP?
Likely, yeah.
Unfinished
Linda said
business.
it's in the
I'm in
budget
favor.
already.
I think we're doing it. That's what I think,
Oh,
for
okay.
whatever that's worth, I'm not sure.
Well, then we don't need to CIP it because it's already budgeted, right?
All right.
Well,
Speaking of that, were any of you going to go to that strategic planning meeting tomorrow?
Everybody else responded that they weren't able to because they'll be working. Jim, you're gonna attend, which is important as the chair, I believe.
Yep.
I think some interesting ideas are gonna be brought up tomorrow.
Yep.
And we'll have lunch, so I'm actually in the middle of the Michigan Planning Conference right now, so I worked remotely today from home and watched some amazing presenters on zoning reform and short-term rentals. There's a company out there that will work, I don't think we have a big issue, in Marquette Township, but I could see this, maybe the city or somebody hiring like this company called, I think it's Hamari. And they have proprietary software. You think it's just Airbnb and VRBO or Verbo and maybe HipCamp. No, his screen was filled with different companies that operate these short-term rentals. He has proprietary software that goes in like every few hours, even in the middle of the night, because some short-term rentals will only advertise between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. because they don't think anybody's monitoring at that time. Fascinating stuff. So anyway, I'm going to attend tomorrow, but I may kind of pick and choose when I come and speak or whatever, or give ideas, because I'd like to stay with the planning conference because, of course, we paid for it. So the nice thing is we don't have to travel this year again to somewhere like Grand Rapids or Lansing or Kalamazoo or Traverse City to attend. I think that they're finding, and I hope that they continue to make it available to those folks who are in more rural communities that might not have a big budget for travel and training, and it's very helpful to be able to, kind of sit in my home office and not have distractions at work. It's almost like I was going to the conference, but I'm away from work. But yeah, I think it's super helpful to. I know for sure that their attendance is way higher because it's being offered online than it would be if you had to go somewhere in person. So.
Okay, no unfinished business?
No.
Correspondence, none at this time. Linda Winslow, Township Board Report.
so the township board met on October 19th, and the agenda was short, and the important thing for the planning commission is the event tomorrow. So that was pretty much it. They did talk about something that I thought should come to the planning commission, but I'm not sure that it will, and that was address numbers on buildings, especially along 41. So they said the example is the new tire place, what's it called? Discount Tire, they have their address on their building and it is very visible. And I rode up the highway and no one else does. So I don't know if we, as the planning commission, should look and see.
That may be buried somewhere in the zoning ordinance, actually.
So maybe we should look at that.
Okay.
And maybe it's already there and then I looked at the residences in the township and they all should have numbers on them and they do not. That's what I'll say. Maybe a reminder needs to go out.
Sure.
A few years ago, the city had everybody in Marquette do that.
Yeah.
And then they came and inspected it, and we didn't have it done, so they made us do it, so kind
Well-
of forgot about it, but yeah, so
You
they
know,
did enforce that.
it's beneficial for the fire department,
Mhm.
the emergency medical services people,
UPS,
UPS.
FedEx,
Amazon?
And for residents looking to
Yeah.
figure out, because that's important.
So you think that's in our sign ordinance, or?
No, it may be buried somewhere in the site plan review process.
Okay.
I'll look it up.
So that's pretty much the township board report. Thank you.
Rec committee?
They did not meet again this month. This kind of ties into the regional park property that I've been working on. For all practical purposes, that is a go right now. But there's some final details on what might happen around it, and I suspect by our next meeting for sure, and certainly the rec committee's next meeting, that we're gonna have lots to talk about. And I don't believe the road committee met either. So kind of a slower time right now, but I know that next month they will be meeting. We have a new road committee member, and if not for anything other than introducing ourselves, we'll have a meeting there. And planning and zoning report. I mean, what you've reviewed tonight has been the gist of my work for the last few months. This rest of this week I'll be attending the conference and hopefully have some interesting stories and anecdotes for you guys for our next meeting. If you have any questions on anything going on, let me know. Not a whole lot to update on. I think most of our developments are in process. I know that the two zoning violation that we talked about last week, so the former carpet shop, or they've cleaned up, and the hoteliers have purchased another property in the city of Marquette, so they do not intend on developing that vacant piece of property at this time that was adjacent to Dave's place. I did send them a violation letter letting them know that, you know, if it's attached to, and what it can only be used in a commercial sense now as part of one of the hotels, that if they move forward, that they will have to install the buffer immediately.
But wasn't Dave's point that they are using it now, so they've triggered that threshold?
Well,
I mean, I don't know whether he was correct or not.
right, so you've got two opinions. There, if you look at the aerial, you can kind of see a rough trail through there historically, like going back through the aerials. So there has been a pathway there. Nothing prevents somebody from going in and, you know, limbing some trees or clearing open an area. But yes, the fact that they, you know, I don't know if the trail itself doesn't really trigger anything on our part. And furthermore, the current hotelier that I speak with indicates that the buffer is met with existing trees. So, I'll probably go out there and end up walking the site and maybe taking the roller out there and measuring some measurements. But at this time, I guess you can be sure that there's no future development proposed on the property, which is one, a good thing. And then two, if there is a buffer that's required there, if I go out there and walk it, then, they'll install a fence or something. But I think Dave was more concerned with what happens in the wintertime, and if people start jumping the snowmobiles across this property, that's not gonna be cool, and it's gonna cause some problems. So I let their development team know that, they're on my radar, and I have to monitor that. So they'll play well, I believe.
Yeah, and hopefully Dave has some, posted some private property notices.
Right.
So people
Yeah,
know
it's
you should post it.
a fine line. You've got pretty intensive commercial use, and then you've got Dave's kind of tranquil 12 acres there, which is beautiful. And it's as development occurs or as things change, then people get different ideas in their heads, and you just have to curtail that with the zoning. So we'll stay on top of that.
Any announcements? Public comment? I see a public out there. Okay. Additional comments by planning commissioners. Stephen, we'll start with you.
You know, I was glad that the Heritage Silos, they took some more recommendations to heart. You know, I'm still not for it, but I didn't have a problem with what they presented tonight, and I think it's a done deal regardless. You know, I still have an issue with the fact that it's multifamily and it's urban residential in a rural residential district. You know, I find that a little bit problematic. You know, I think that the neighbor next door, he mean very well, be friends of the Bonks and friends of the golf course, but if there's half a dozen snowmobilers there and they're firing up those snowmobiles at 3 o'clock in the morning, he might not be the happiest neighbor anymore. So that was my concern, and it was more for the good of the general public than for the good of the Bonks. I think that's my charge. So anyway, so that's the way I look at it. I think, you know, I think it's a lovely development. I think they'll do a good job at it. But more of my concern was the residential nature of the area.
No
Jenny?
comment?
No comment.
I have a few.
You want me first, or do you want to go?
Why don't you go first?
Okay, I'll go first. I'm noting that there is almost at every meeting, we've had a request for a short-term rental. I just think we need to sort of be aware of how many short-term rentals do we want in our township.
Scratch one of my things off
Speaking of
here.
that, where's the legislation on that? Is that a done deal
It
yet?
passed today somewhere.
Only in the House.
In the House, it passed in the House for us not to control it.
And the governor, is she amenable to it or is she against it?
I haven't heard that piece.
We don't know.
Don't know.
I'll see if I can find anything from the supervisor and manager.
Well, it seems like it's kind of Republican initiated, isn't it?
How about our local rep? How is she on that?
Sarah Kamenzi,
Yeah.
she voted no.
She voted no? She voted down?
She was one of the people that created it, I think. I don't
Well-
know. I'll send you what I have. Do you have it?
Legislators
I-
piggyback on other bills and scratch
Yeah.
their back. If you vote
Yeah.
yes on this, I'll vote yes on that.
I think she did that.
But for her to initiate it and then vote it down,
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
that's a little.
Yeah, so we'll send everyone what we can find or know. Right, James?
Yes, yeah, we're staying on top of that one.
The other thing is, one of the township board trustees wondered if we as a board could meet earlier in the day. I said I would just bring that forward, but I did say we have people who work,
I worked till at least
Yeah.
5:30, so.
and Bethany works.
I mean, we could, like 6 o'clock, you know,
Yeah,
we don't have to
I
wait
can
till
do 6.
7.
No, well, I'm just bringing it forward, that we don't have to have any action on it, we can do whatever.
Well, now's a good time though, because I know that the clerk is proposing meeting, we have our dates set, but if you did want to act as a commission and say, yeah, we'll meet at 6 o'clock next week, or next year, and try that, you know, maybe we get home a little earlier.
Works for me.
That's fine with me, and I have no issue with it whatsoever.
Bethany, what time, you don't get done till 6?
No, I get done around 5. Usually pick up some kids, I can drop them off, eat something quick. 6 is manageable.
Yeah, I can do 6.
I was just thinking about that today too. I thought, I wish I could go to the meeting now at 6, because I'm just sitting around waiting, you know, and I
Same.
thought 6 would be better, and,
Yeah.
I've
you know,
got,
if you guys all think that, I'd kinda like to do it too.
Danny got an issue?
I got a conflict, yeah, I've got a regular meeting on Wednesdays at 5:30 to 6:30.
Oh, you do? Okay.
But if everybody else, it's convenient for everybody else, I could forego that, but I was
7's fine with me too.
7's fine with me
Yeah.
too.
Would 6:30 work or 6:45?
It's a long way from,
Where, do you have a long
It's
way?
it's downtown Marquette, it's the Episcopal Church. Every Wednesday I have a Tai Chi class.
Yeah, no, it's,
So-
yeah, no, we'll
But-
just keep it at 7.
We'll keep it at 7.
Okay,
I mean, I guess I would give up my Tai Chi, but
I wouldn't,
No, no, that's
No.
your personal growth, kinda.
I wouldn't give up my yoga.
okay.
That's right.
Good.
Okay, all right.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Well, along with that short-term rental, that was one of the things I was gonna ask or talk about too, is I'm in the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association, and we just got a form today to send emails to the senators to vote against this. Cause, you know, with the lodging especially, not so much the restaurant part of it, but the lodging, so. So they're kinda launching that to see, you know, to try and stop it, I guess, but,
What
See
is
what
the
happens.
difference with the short-term rental and like a VRBO? The short-term,
Nothing.
Nothing. Synonymous.
okay.
Marketing.
but I was kinda thinking
Sure.
about what Linda said also with the amount of short-term rentals we're getting now, and whether we wanna think about putting a limit on it like Marquette did the city. Just
What
let
is
it go
there?
We've
for a
got
while, or,
54 square miles, and what we could do is maybe have Eric do an exercise where he will map what we've already approved to show you the density. There's less than 20.
maybe,
Maybe just a
another thing the city did is you can only
Traverse
have
City-
so many in a certain area or per block, or, you know, maybe we could do something like that too, or,
Traverse City, which is fairly small, I saw today, has 620 short-term rentals.
hotels in
When I was
Restaurants,
there,
love it,
everything
though.
was full. You know, the hotels were full too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, for now.
It's a-
Well, they
You
go
know,
from
but-
like 4,000 of a permanent population to over 100,000 people in the summertime.
Yeah, careful what you ask for.
Gridlock on the streets.
I did forget.
It's a fun town.
And it gets worse and worse. Yeah, it is a fun town.
Film festival's awesome.
There are short-term rentals in Ann Arbor going for $30,000 a month. I was looking when my son was down, when Jimmy was down there for staying in Ann Arbor, he was looking for those,
30?
$30,000 a month.
You're a good dad.
Yeah.
It's a lot of meatballs.
Well, I would, not for him. I was just going through them.
Yeah, no, I
No.
know. I follow this gentleman on TikTok, and he's got, I think I've explained it, 3 in Nashville. And he clears, like after HOA fees, after taxes, like 80 grand a month on 3 of them.
Yeah,
He doesn't work, and that's his,
yeah,
Working.
it's amazing.
well, no, he says he works about 2 hours a week. The management companies take care, all of his profits had all the maintenance, all the cleaning. Because if you're renting from me a short-term rental, you're paying the cleaning fee. I'm not paying
Right,
it.
oh, that's true, yeah, I did that, yeah.
So it's phenomenal what people are doing with their properties, and it's all over the UP right now. People are really kind of starting. Like I wish I could provide you with a visual of people coming from the populated areas into the UP because it's happening at quite a click right now.
Take a drive between Amik and Eagle River.
Is that busy?
I used to go anywhere along there and walk on the lake 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Now you get shot.
Now you can't find a place to access the lake. It's
Right.
gone.
Yeah.
But
But you know what, I have to say this, because this is what I really think in 5 years, this is gonna be killing motels and hotels.
I think.
And this is like the start of the Amazon in the lodging industry. You know, Amazon killed all the retail, and it's gonna do this here.
Well, I always say this, but your dollar is your most important vote, right?
Yeah.
Where you spend your money. And yeah, it's the continued homogenization of the United States through corporate, I don't want to say greed, probably a little
You can
greed.
say
Careful.
greed.
careful.
But at the state level, at the, national level and at the global level,
Rocket launch companies?
their lawyers are better than our
Yeah.
lawyers, so that's
And
the way
rich
it
hedge
works
fund
out.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until we have the fortitude to not let corporations have the same rights as people, I believe that was the 14th Amendment, or the 8th, one of the two. But that basically gave corporations the same rights as people, and that just doesn't make sense.
That was somebody's interpretation of that amendment.
It was, and it happened in a mine out in Nevada,
It's America.
yeah.
It's America.
I was gonna ask you too, Jason, about, with the True North, site plan, and when you were talking about the lights, before we get into another Fox situation like we have in the past with them, would it be prudent to let them know which lights would be good to use and which ones wouldn't be good to use?
Yeah, I'm gonna require that I look at their catalog pages before they even order them, and then a photometric of
I mean,
what
there
the
aren't
site.
residents around there like at the other places, but.
There's a
you know,
buffer, There's
There is
one
on
to the
the north
north,
side.
but there's a buffer there.
Yeah.
There's houses right there.
There's trees in between them, but of course in the winter, I suppose, you know,
Yeah,
the leaves fall off.
Deciduous or not.
There's some evergreens in there, actually. Yeah. But still, 0 light trespass at the property line, that's what we're after.
And I guess since we're getting to the end of the year, I know Steve's term is up. You only have really 2 more meetings if you're not going to,
Yep,
did you make a decision?
Have
yet?
not.
Okay.
have not. I'm leaning against serving again, but I can be changed, so we'll see.
Here. What do you like?
I tell you, I buy a good bottle of bourbon every month, so.
What, you don't like bourbon?
Oh, yeah.
Or scotch?
Bourbon.
What, name?
America.
Mark?
America.
What? America?
Yeah, I've been drinking rye lately.
Okay, what's your favorite brand?
I've been drinking Pikesville Rye, 110 proof.
Pike Skill.
Pikesville Rye.
Pikesville
From
Rye.
Avondale.
Is this legal?
I mean,
That's all it's gonna take.
again, you could just take it out in the parking lot if you want.
So I
Adjourned.
did, yep.
No, there aren't any term limits on, like,
No.
you don't, okay, so.
Oh,
you
geez,
can just
Ellen
keep living
Sargent was on the planning commission
Lots of years.
6, 8 years. Lynn Durant, I believe, was the planning commissioner for quite some time, so. You don't like to see turnover, you know, I don't wanna say that you and I butt heads, I don't think we do.
No, I think
You
it's-
ask
I think
great
it's- I think it's
questions.
legit stuff, you bet.
See, the
I
beauty
learned
of,
a lot
of
from
the spectrum of planning commissioners is that you all have different specialties that you came from, education, you know, a business owner, Bethany's got, you know, development, you know, Denny was an attorney, and you were, you know, a surveyor, and so that's what you want on your planning commission, because you come at things and you realize things in different perspectives, like Jim may realize this is a bunch of red tape, and, you know, yes, we have to get through the basics of the zoning ordinance, but I try to make it as simple as possible for people,
You
know.
do a good job, great job.
Thanks. Well,
He's getting
you know, I would rather have them have a complete site plan and come through once than, you know, I've read the meeting minutes before I started here, and there was, you know, 2 or 3 times the site plan would come through, and it's like, oh,
That's what you call rubbing the plans a lot.
that's costly, yeah, it's costly.
Redoing those plans. Yeah, that's no good.
And what do you like to drink?
No, I'm
He's
I'm
not
good.
He's a Black Rocks boy.
I haven't been there in 2 years,
Really? No.
but I'm going Friday, because my brother Matthew is getting married, so.
Who is?
Matt McCarthy.
Oh, McCarthy brother, okay, great.
Yeah, Sean, no, he's,
That's why I
he'll never.
was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Or we,
Okay, well,
Okay, so I have one-
that's all I have. What's that?
I forgot one thing.
Okay.
The commission that decides how we are district to vote for county commissioners decided that Marquette Township can be one district again. So we will only have one county commissioner representing Marquette Township. Does that make sense, what I said?
Is that a population-based thing or what?
Nah, it was kind of
No,
they tried to
no,
gerrymander
was
it.
Really?
Yeah.
So DePetro is gonna be out or in, or?
DePietro?
DePietro.
Oh, no, I'm sure, I don't know who he'll run and represent, but we have 2 of them that are representing us.
Is it a gentleman from the west end? Is he one of ours?
Who's that, Adamini or no?
He runs a 41, he's running a steakhouse up there, DeRocha? Is it
Heikela was ours.
Rick, Bruce?
Bruce? Bruce was from Scandia?
No.
Bruce
Rick.
Heckler.
Rick Heckler?
Well, anyways,
Sarah Heikela's dad, I thought it was.
well, Bruce,
Yeah.
that's Bruce.
I knew his dad.
Anyways, we're going back to only one person representing the whole township.
So
And
they're
I
gonna
don't
have
know
to
how
run?
else it's drawn, pardon me?
They're gonna have to, so they're gonna have to have an election then for that person?
They do have an election next year, is it? I think it's next year.
Okay.
And they will continue to have 6 commissioners that we recommended as a township that they go to an odd number. And they like 6.
Mr. Corkin still a term?
Yes.
Talk about term limits.
there's,
Well, they're naming a road after.
Talk
it,
about
so
good benefits being on a commission.
Are there?
You get health insurance for life.
On the
You serve
county?
one term.
At the county?
Yes.
Wow.
We used to have that in
There, I
Marquette
learned that.
Township.
I'm surprised that hasn't been squashed by now.
Would you,
They should
if it's
do
your goal?
that.
Why would you vote against yourself?
The people in this township did, the trustees or the
They may have.
commissioners.
So based on Commissioner Winslow's comment, I'm gonna strike that line that I put in the meeting minutes that indicated that they redistrict, okay?
Okay.
Just so you know.
Well, they kind of did redistrict.
I thought that was
Then I'll
still
leave
in
it
the
on.
process.
Yeah.
They redistricted, they just didn't split into two commissioners.
Split us.
Got it.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
So it's still the same amount, just the districts are
It's
just a little different.
One person. They're
One person,
gonna redraw the lines,
Okay.
is my understanding. I couldn't find the map, I will say that.
I'll get a hold of that.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. Sorry.
Okay. All right, I guess we're adjourned.
Hang that gavel, Jordan.
So we
Hang
are,
that gavel.
we are growing as a township. We need to celebrate something here. Say,
We're over 4,000 residents now, we grew by 6%.
can we do a Facebook
Wow.
post about all the great things going on in this